All right, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, my name is Mike Arthur, and I'm a friend of Jeffrey Winehouse's and everything. And I'd like to talk about what happened to Jeff on September 11th here, 2012, concerning a shooting with the Missouri Highway Patrol. And I've got a few questions. First, I'd like to give you guys a good overview of everything that's happened. This is just going to be pretty quick and brief. Jeffrey, the week before September 11th, the cops came in, Troop I from Rolla, Missouri, and to his house because Jeffrey had filmed some videos which they said they felt were threatening, and then they said under the pretense that they smelled marijuana, so they came in his house and they confiscated Jeffrey's computers and cameras and stuff like that. It's my opinion, when they took the cameras and everything, the information contained therein actually probably facilitated the shooting, because, you know, Jeffrey worked with a lot of people, tried to help a lot of people, you know, I mean, just because it was the right thing to do, you know, I mean, he didn't do it for money. I mean, several times, I mean, he's done things all by himself, you know, it didn't care if anybody was there, you know, I mean, he was trying to lead by example, you know, this is one of the good fellas here. And well, on 9/2/12, Jeffrey sent out a writ of replevin to me, several of his close friends, and several big news stations, including Chris Nagel and Brother Nathaniel and the Washington Post and stuff like that. You know, I mean, you know, people that were already involved in doing some of the news clips too, you know. He had sent them, you know, and he was asking the Highway Patrol to return his computers and his property by the end of the business day on September 11th, 2012. Well, as we all know, by the end of the business day on September 11th, 2012, Jeffrey caught 4 bullets, you know, 2 to the chest, 1 to the neck, 1 to the head. You guys have heard the audio, which my friend Pete released here, and you guys have heard it. Their official press release 2 days later, like Pete pointed out too, says that they told him several times to move his hands away from the weapon or anything. Well, another overview about what happened is, I mean, there are witnesses that seen the thing. There are witnesses that haven't been contacted. Their stories are just awesome to hear, because they're not what you're being told on the news. They're not being told, or it's not the story that the troopers are trying to tell you. It's not the story that the courts are trying to tell you. Jeffrey, a big fact that they're trying to hide from you, especially with all these Second Amendment scares, you know, they're really naming all the guns that people are doing things with, but they're afraid to name the firearm that Jeffrey had here. He had a little 6-shot 22 revolver snapped in a little bitty holster on his side. And I know this because Jeffrey was here 2 days before on 9/9/12 and talked to me and my boss, and basically said that they were going to kill him. They were going to do something to him. He said they had been in their vehicles hanging out around his house, around him, and said that he was in fear for his safety. He said they weren't trying to hide. They weren't trying to be conspicuous. You know, he said it looks like they're waiting for the right time and they're going to do something to me. And like I said, people, keep in mind, when they took his camera, first off, why would they take his cameras and computers over a little bit of marijuana? Marijuana and computers and cameras have nothing to do with anything. And Jeffrey did things for lots of people besides trying to help, you know, like Mr. Mazarane run for mayor here, you know, so clean up corruption. I mean, trying to lead by example, actually, you know, get rid of the corruptive powers that be by votes, by elections, by peace, you know. And this man has done nothing but promote peace. You know, I will say this, on his 1/8/16/12 video, Jeffrey did get a little out of character and he did curse a little bit. He wasn't a cursing man. Everybody that knew him, including these officers, know that he was a church guy. He's a Christian, always quoting the Bible and stuff, because actually that scared some people away from him and stuff, you know. But needless to say, he was still doing the right thing, just because, you know, he felt when he's dead and gone, he'll get his reward, you know, and which is something that most of us, if we really look at ourselves and are honest, man, we don't think like that. We don't operate like that, you know. We always want some sort of gain, some leg up, he didn't want nothing. He didn't even care if you went out there and stood with him, you know. I mean, he would do it by himself. We had a Martin Luther King parade here just last year, and he was trying to get everybody posted all over the internet, and guess what? Jeffrey was the only one out there walking up the middle of Main Street here in Bourbon, you know, singing "We Shall Overcome," you know, and didn't care. Just because it was the thing to do, you know, that set an example, you know, trying to tell people, get out here, get involved, get, you know. So this is the type of guy that you're dealing with. Not the monster that the media is trying to make him out to be, or the troopers. he's now being currently held in Franklin County Jail, which I don't understand. If they sent Highway Troop I from all the way from Phelps County, they have to travel through Crawford to get to Franklin, so there's a county in between. If they had the charges and put the charges on him, then why is he not held in Phelps, and why is he being held up there? The press guy, Al Notham, he don't have any comment. He says no comment, just hangs up if you try to call him or whatever. If you go up and ask about Winehouse, they'll just hand you a paper, stonewall you, you know. I mean, there's no getting any information. They went up there, 17 people went up there on his court date, mostly troopers. I don't know if they're all troopers, but I know most of them were of Troop I, for a show of solidarity at his court hearing, which they got a grand jury indictment, you know. And there wasn't that many officers involved. There was a Sergeant Folsom and a Officer Scott Mertrans are the two people that were apparently serving this warrant at an abandoned gas station. No dash cams, and several people say that the officers were in plainclothes. They were not identifiable as cops, because actually one person actually got involved and asked them after they seen him shoot him, said, "Hey, are you cops?" And they ignored him, and he asked them again. He said, "Hey, are you fucking cops?" Pardon my language. And one of them turned around with a pistol in his face and growled how he's interfering with business and, you know, police business and stuff like that. And dude's like, "Whoa, okay, sorry," you know, the same as you would do. Well, anyway, there's 26 minutes of missing audio as well from what you guys heard. You guys only got to hear the first 20 seconds, and like I said, Jeffrey was shot in the first 20 seconds. You heard his car door, they exchanged pleasantries. Aside from their report, they did not ever tell him to take his hand away from a weapon. They never told him to drop a weapon. They never told him he was under arrest. They never told him any of that. They just, "Hey, what do you got the gun for? What do you got the gun for?" They were exchanging pleasantries, you know. I mean, like I said, they all knew each other. Now, this Sergeant Folsom, this is another curious piece to the puzzle, is Jeffrey made videos, especially the video 9912, where he talked about him in 9212, and, you know, the few videos prior to him being shot. He talked about Sergeant Folsom. As a matter of fact, he even publicly apologized to Sergeant Folsom in video when he made one video that accused him of taking his medications and stuff when they raided his house. And he made a public video saying, you know, "Hey, I found him, you hit him, but I apologize, you didn't." See, that's what type of guy this guy was. He publicly apologized. And the very same guy got to come shoot him 2 days later. You know, I mean, go figure. You know, how does that add up? And like I said, another question that I had about the whole thing that stinks is, why did Franklin County not serve this warrant or have any part of it? Why did Troop C from up in that area not have anything to do it? And another curious thing is Troop C got to investigate Troop I for the shooting and exonerated their own brothers. So you got troopers investigating troopers here. You know, I mean, there's no justice. It's just us. You know, I mean, and that's been Jeffrey's slogan for 16 years. You know, there's no justice, there's just us. You know, and look around, people. I mean, this man was shot 4 times. Between the time that he said, "You're gonna have to shoot me, man," and the shots that rung out on that audio recording, there was no time for anybody to even think about unsnapping a holster and drawing for it to flash across your head, let alone to make your arm make the motion. So we know he didn't have it. And even in their report, they said that it was strapped in a holster on his side. You know, so go in there and read the Highway Patrol news release. Call these people, question them, ask them. They're stonewalling that man up there right now. By the Missouri Constitution, all offenses shall be bailable by sufficient sureties unless a capital offense, which is murder, treason, and Mr. Winehouse is on none of those charges. He's not on a capital offense, but yet they refuse to give him a surety bond. And the first attorney that he had, you know, I mean, actually let him get it off. They played one line out of the audio, that "You're gonna have to shoot me, man," to turn around and point a finger and say he was dangerous, he shouldn't be bailed, he's not gonna give up without a fight. And that was that. They did not play the whole audio, the whole perspective, because that would have incriminated them. That would have showed their fault, you know, because, and like I said, in this writ of replevin, they used that very same thing where he was asking for his computers and medications back. They used that very same thing. They called Jeffrey and they said they were going to bring his computers and his medications back to his house. A false spin on the story is they're trying to say that he knew he was there was a warrant. They told him, no they didn't. They told him that they were going to give him his computers and cameras back. Jeffrey was on top of the world. He felt like $1 million because he called several people. It was, hey, they're going to give me my stuff back. And there's some pretty verifiable people that he called, and they were like, hey, wait a minute, be careful. And he went up there, and like I said, Missouri is an open carry state. It's not against the law. I mean, we get people that run through here all the time that's got guns just right out in the open. You don't have to have no carry permit here. You just do it, you know? And everybody keeps them snapped, you know? So same thing with Jeffrey. They don't want you to know that he had a 22 because it makes them look foolish. You don't go start a revolution or a shootout with the cops like they would have you believe with a 6-shot revolver 22. It just don't happen. You only have a 22 if you're scared, and that's all you have. I mean, common sense, you know, because it ain't even good for shooting squirrels unless you're standing up on top of it, you know. So they don't want you to know that fact either. But there's lots of questions that need to be looked at and asked. I've given you guys a pretty broad overview of it, just being quick, you know, and wanted to ask a few questions of my own because obviously they like to spam my comments on there when I'm trying to set the record straight. So I figured if they can flag my comments for spam, let's see you flag this video as spam, you know. I mean, because here it is, you know. And like I said, Jeff's my friend, man. He needs our support. He's being railroaded, run over. They're not following any laws. They're not, I mean, they're gonna try to persecute this guy, and they tried to assassinate him. And like I said, it has to do with his computers and cameras because this man had dirt all the way up to the governor's office, you know. He helped many, many people with many things. And in this day and age with everything going on, everybody's got a hard luck story to tell. I bet you have one, you know, that you just love to get out and get attention to, you know. So when Jeffrey would walk around, I mean, he almost couldn't go in the grocery store because he's got 5 people. Hey, I need help with this. My landlord's doing this. The sheriff's doing this, you know. I mean, so that's what he did. And he helped many people, many, like, community standing people, many people that worked in government offices. I mean, he helped people from all, the poor people. He helped people from all walks of life with a whole lot of things that dealt with a whole lot of people.